Hi guys, Darkwater here, and welcome to a different style video, or I guess a tutorial slash update, if you will, regarding my setup for sim trucking for American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator 2. So if you guys aren't familiar, I did a few videos on this previously, which I will have linked in the description below. However, there has been some updates, and a couple of you have reached out regarding some issues you guys may have. So I just wanted to do this video to showcase basically everything, a step-by-step guide on how to get your guys' system set up. If you guys use something similar to what I have. Now, before we begin, I just wanted to say that and kind of do a rundown of the stuff that I have, because what you have may be different, because I bought all my accessories and equipment separately. I felt it was better for me to do it that way instead of just buying everything at once. Plus, at the time I bought everything, they didn't have the truck sim bundle as they do now. If you guys are interested, go check out Moza Racing online, or even they sell it on Amazon. You guys can find it. I don't know, I don't have the link, so I won't be able to provide it to you. But Moza Racing did come out with a truck sim bundle, so be sure to check it out. It makes it a lot more affordable. But as far as what I have the R5 base. I went with it because I figured it was a nice entry level, but also provides just the right amount of feedback how I feel the game should be, especially for trucking. I did do some sim racing with it, and I'm completely fine with it. So no need to change it. And then with that, I have the truck sim wheel. I do have another racing wheel that I can quickly swap out. I have the CRP pedals, which is the load cell pedals that Moza offers. Now they have the CRP2. I have the original ones. Still work just fine. No issues with that. And then I also have the HGP shifter and then the multi-function stalks. Additionally, on my shifter, I have a shift knob that I bought from ATS Accessories. That is separate. That just screws on to the base. And I'll go over all that when we get to that point. Right now, I'm just showing you guys my desktop because no point in being in the game if we're not to that point yet. So I am recording the footage that you are about to see on my cell phone, so bear with me. Might be a little shaky, but I hope it helps. I don't really have a GoPro or anything like that. So anyway, let's go ahead and begin. So right here, this is my setup. I have a Next Level Racing wheel stand 2.0. Right now, everything is folded, well, almost folded up. This is how I store it, just because my setup is kind of as you see here. This is usually where I sit the wheel, and then I plug it in via that. I also have a USB hub. We'll get to that a little bit later, but this is the R5 base. So you have the attachment point right here for the wheel. In the back, this is where all the connections are. So if you look right there, that is all where the main power is right here, and then you have the different plugs. Now, I'll see if my camera can capture this a little bit. Bear with me. My office is a little tight here. So right here, you can see where all the plugs come in, and there are labels for each one. They might be hard to see, but this is where you plug each thing in. And then right here is your main power button. So that is how you turn it on after you plug it in. We'll get to that in a minute. So first thing that you want to do is you want to set this on your base plate. I actually had to custom mount this. This is the tilt bracket that Moza offered with the truck wheel. I had to actually screw or drill holes to screw this in to this plate, because Next Level Racing does not have this compatible by default. So that's what I had to do. If you guys have a different plate or a different setup, you might not have to do it. Or if you have a desk, you use this for the desk mount, you don't have to worry about that. I just like it because then I can fold it up, set it off to the side, and do some other things. Just because of the size of the office, I don't have a dedicated gaming computer. So, but moving on, I have everything wired through these cable. I don't know what you call them. essentially organizers. So everything runs through here. It's just how they keep all the cables nice and tidy. And then you also want to mount your pedals to the plate. You can see some of the screws in there, how they're melted in. So that's mounted to the plate of the wheel stand. Now, as you guys can see here, this is once you get this set up, and also your shifter. The shifter connects here. This is another arm, and you can just set it right there. As you can see, everything has these Ethernet cables. So this is how everything plugs into each other, and you can see they are labeled. So this does have a USB option if you wanted to use this strictly. You can plug it to your computer. When it's shipped default, they do have that option. Otherwise, you use these Ethernet cables, and they all connect into the base. If you do not have a Moza base, Moza makes an accessory which you guys can use that everything plugs into, at least as far as their products. So with that being said, starting with the pedals, you have a bunch of different Ethernet cables, as you guys can see, that you have to plug into. That one's the throttle, that one's the bass. So this one that says bass, that one connects to the bass unit. Whereas these ones connect to each other. So the brake pedal, where the load cell pedal is, that's where all the connections go to. So the clutch, the throttle, the brake, they all connect to this. And then that is connected to the bass under the pedals, which you guys might be able to see because it's right there. You can see the bottom left one there. So, and then same thing with the shifter. The shifter goes up, and I just have it wired here, and then it connects to the shifter. See, there you go, SHF, shifter. And then, I'm trying to figure out where this one is. Okay, this one right here, sorry, I'm trying to mess with the flashlight here. May not need it right now. This one is the main connection that goes to your computer, and this is your power. Goes to the power bank, which I have over there. It's where I have my wheel set. And then that goes to the wall for power. And then, as you guys can see here, I have an extra cord right here. This is for the multi-function stock. So, with that being said, this is how you connect everything to get it wired up. And then you have just USBs that connect to the computer. So bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and connect the multi-function stock, which I have right here. If you guys are curious on how to connect that, I did a previous video before, so I'm not going to showcase that right now just because usually I need both hands. But one of my other videos did, I think the first one on the multi-function stock did capture that. So bear with me 1 second. I did want to mention one thing. When you guys get the multi-function stock, you get this piece that comes with it. This is an adapter piece that hooks onto this. On this piece, I don't have it anymore, but there is a thing, you can kind of see where the glue is. That's a little switch that cancels the turn signal function. I removed that on mine just because when I'm trucking, I don't like it on it. Because I like to be able to manually cancel the turn signals instead of it automatically canceling. But that is where it is. They do come with replacement adhesive and then also another metal piece. I don't know what it's really called, but it does come with another one in case this happens to you where you guys end up not being able to use it or it breaks for some reason. There is a replacement one. And once you guys have that on, that's what it looks like. I have this nice little cover, but otherwise the connection port's right there. And then you can see how much that extends the drive shaft. All right, so now I got this mounted up. And as you guys can tell or can see, I had the way mine gets mounted is through these screws right here that go onto the top. If you guys have a different base or a different model base or a different year or version, you might have to go through this front plate, which I can't lift up right now with one hand. Maybe I can. There we go. And then you got 3 screw holes that would be mounted to your front plate. Mine for the R5 does not have that, so I have this bracket that goes on the top and then these 2 holes. So now that that is set up, this would get plugged in right here. If you guys can see it. So right there is where this gets plugged in. And then that's a USB that goes to your computer. So as far as connections to and from the computer, there should only be, if you guys have this set up or something similar, mind you, the pedals that you guys have might be different, but it should be connected in a similar way where you would have separate, you can even see it better from here, you guys would have separate plugs and then one that goes to the base. Or you might guys have one that goes to the base, but they're all connected to each other. So it all depends on the setup that you guys have. Be sure to examine them if you guys are having any issues with connecting them. So that being said, I am gonna scoot everything to my desk and get everything plugged in. Like I mentioned though, you should only have 2 connections that go to the computer and then 1 power connection. Everything else should connect to itself. Now I have the shift knob from ATS Accessories, so that is another USB connection. For the sake of this video, I am not going to have that connected. Same with my button box, which is behind me. So bear with me 1 second as I get everything scooted in. All right, so now I have it in front of my desk. You guys can see the power has the light on, indicating that it has power. It's plugged in. And then I have my setup plugged into a USB hub, which you guys can see back there. Just great. I recommend getting a USB hub. Just bear in mind that it does need power, but it definitely helps. That's how I run a lot of my stuff. And cables or whatever. I try to manage them as best I can. So, but this is the setup that I have here. As you guys can see, it fits nice and snug up against the desk here, which is the way I like it. Center of my ultra-wide monitor. It's just how I prefer it. So that as far as my setup, that is everything goes. And I usually have my, let me just grab it here, my button box, which I'll usually have somewhere roughly about right here. So if you guys seen my videos, you guys can attest to that. So, all right. So now that we have that, oh, I forgot one more thing, and that is the wheel. So we want to get that put on, huh? So for setting the wheel up, you guys, again, I already showed you guys this multiple times, but you just want to grab that. If you have this cover, these covers I got off Etsy, really nice. Helps protect the connections. And then also the same thing on the wheel itself. You guys can see right here. Just pop that out. I'm doing this all one-handed, so it's a bit difficult, so bear with me. So let's see if I can get this put on with one hand. There it goes. Now it's snapped in. And then before we do anything else, we're going to want to reach to the back here. And this little power button that I mentioned earlier, go ahead and press that. And then with the wheel on, you'll see it all light up. There we go. And now everything is on and connected. Now that we're have everything connected to our computer, what we're going to want to do is open up Moza Pithouse. If you guys do not have this, make sure you guys install it. Install the latest version. I'll show you guys how to do that. In fact, I probably might be going through an update because it's been over a week since I played it. Every time you do this, you want to have this running in the background in order for everything to work. Looks like there is no updates. Actually, there is. So if you go over here, this is where you have your updates. If it has a little red dot, it usually means that there's an update. So in this case, actually, hold on. I forgot to plug my multi-function stock in. There you go. As you can see, that goes in. Looks like there is a new firmware update for the wheel. So go ahead and just hit Firmware Manager. So there we go. This is just going to tell you what it is. So just make sure you guys have the latest version installed when you guys do this. Sometimes it may turn your wheel off. It may reset the base unit. As you see, it's rebooting to boot. So right now my wheel's off and now it's rebooting. It's just going through that update process. So just make sure you guys do that. So I don't know why I did the R5, just because I saw something, and I don't know. But the TSW is the one that is, so we're going to hit the latest release and then update. So it's saying that they restored the function of the combination key to switch the color of the key lights, added its speed indicator and the flag indicator on 3 modes, added the combination, the dashboard, which I don't use, fixing the issue where the knob or joystick could trigger incorrectly when steering wheel was first powered on and connected. I don't have that issue. Yeah, I don't have that. So go ahead, connect that. So, but anytime you guys do an update on this, just make sure you do that before you do anything, before you load in the game. As you guys can tell, I don't have the game running on my computer right now. Right now, it's just getting this set up here. All right, update successful, so we can close out of that. It's now going to check again. There we go. So now everything's all set. Nice thing is that the Moza Pithouse has a nice little indicator when there is something that needs to be updated. You guys go to the firmware manager. So right here, we have the dashboard. I'll go this full thing. Another thing you guys can do is if you have a game here, like for example, I have American Truck Simulator. It's one of my most favorite games to play, and I play it more than Euro Truck Simulator just because I am from America. As you can tell, there is a indicator on the bottom that says configured. If for any reason that's not, like for here, the Euro Truck Simulator, I can just hit config, and then now it's configured. It's quick and easy. It just makes sure that the Pithouse connects with the game and it's not running separately. They're running in conjunction with each other. So this is your dashboard. You can launch the game from here if so wished. But then over here you have your list of your accessories. So you got the multi-function stock. If you guys are using it, use this Euro Truck Simulator, American Truck Simulator function. You can do this. I did a tutorial on how to get this set up properly the way I do, and it requires using this at first and then this. It's a complicated process. For the sake of that, I'm not going to cover it. If you guys want, you can go back to that. But essentially, what it requires you to do is to go into the game under the Direct Connect settings, go to your Documents folder, go to American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator. You're going to go to your profiles, and then you're going to go to your controls SII file, and then you would end up changing these options where it says retarder. You got the wipers, different settings. So normally by default, your wipers and wipers back are the ones that work, where you actually have additional settings that you could set up. Apologies. But you guys could set up, and it works great for the multi-function stock. Same with the lights. Normally it's the lights and lights off, but you can actually go to lights park, lights on, and then lights off as well. So actually, no, I think it's just the lights, that switch. And then you actually have 3 other settings that you can do, which is nice. I don't think many people knew about it. In fact, one of you guys was the ones that informed me on it, which is really great. But if you guys want to dive into that, you can check out the other video. Otherwise, you can take a look at that file yourself. And it's on, if you're using a Steam profile, it's on the Steam profiles as well. Just go under the controls SII file. And then a cool thing about that is, apologies, I need to get some water, man. The nice thing about that is, say if I have a setup or I have buttons configured the way I'd like them, as you can see, I modified this on 419. I can open this, I can hit Control A, Control C, close out of that one, go to my other ones, Control A, Control V, hit save, back out, and then same thing with all the other profiles that I have. So that way all the profiles have the exact same controls as the one that I like. And this is how I do that for the turn signal stocks. multifunction stalks for the lights, the wipers, and anything else that I use. That's the process that I did it. You guys might do it differently. Bear in mind that your buttons, because this is the way this works, is that it's the number of what the game considers to be the button. So it might not be what's displayed, but it's the actual button that the computer registers with each button. So if that makes any sense. If not, then I don't know what I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Anyway, going back to Moza Pithouse. So if you use this to do that trick, make sure when you go back, in order to have the turn signals turn on and off without having to press them again, just go back to this, because Moza did an excellent job on configuring that. So, and then you also have an e-brake if you have it. Sequential gearbox, I don't have that. The shifter, this is more so, I don't really know what this really controls, but just make sure that you do this. You calibrate this. If for any reason that this has a display, if you go up and it presses number 7, just hit calibration, and then you can go through each gear and just make sure everything's working. Go to 7, go to reverse, just make sure that it's calibrated, and then it should work like that. This is the hub. For example, if you did not have any of if you did not have a Moza base, this is what you would need to connect all this stuff to the computer. So the base has the hub built in, so you guys don't need that if you have the base. If you have like a Thrustmaster or any other base and you have Moza products on top of that, you would need the hub. Dash, I don't have that, so that's not relevant to me. This is the pedals. This is a pedal curve. As you guys can see here, I have mine a little bit differently. I have my clutch pretty much like this. I think there's a little bit of play, and this is all by feel. I kind of had it maybe a little bit like I don't know. It was weird. I forgot how I had it. I think it was mostly like that, but same with the brake. So I have my brake set up a little bit differently in this little curve shape. And then the throttle, I just have it in a linear. So you guys can change how this works for you guys. If you guys want, for example, if you want the clutch to be light, for example, you can actually bring this up. So you actually get a, you guys can't really see, but I hope you maybe hear it. But you guys can see how that changes where the clutch engage point, it's actually going past it. So you don't need to push the clutch all the way down. Otherwise, you can extend this over. So maybe move this down. So it's actually more like this. I think that's kind of where I had it, where it shot up. Something like that. You guys can play around with this, honestly. You guys don't have to have it the way I do. And I just prefer that last, right about here is where it, and my clutch pedal, where it gets really stiff. And then it just shoots forward. So that's where I have that jump like that. I think I'll save that. But yeah, you can mess with this. You can mess with the curves on everything, which is nice. The brake, brake is actually a little hard for me to push in this configuration because it's actually, there we go. Just because it is a load cell, it's hard to push by my hand. I do have everything folded up still, so I don't have anything down. But I'll leave that for right now. And then you got your wheel settings. Now, you can change the wheel color in here, but I guess now they have the option where you can, they have the button combination to change the wheels or color again. Maybe not. Was the option. I don't know. Either way, you guys can see how the button's pressing. They mentioned it. I'm confused on what that is, but this is how you change the backlight color of the wheels. And then you also have your button brightness, and then also your stick mode. This is your left stick, your left D-pad, you can either have it as a D-pad or buttons. So by default, these are buttons, and by the left one is buttons. The right one will always be buttons. You actually go right here. So it's either 9, 10, 11, or 12, or 5, 8, 6, and 7, or you can have it in a D-pad configuration. I prefer this one as a D-pad configuration just because that works for me, but you guys can do whatever you guys want. As far as the RPMs, this is how I have mine configured. You have two modes. You have each color the light comes on is independent, or you have as the lights come up, all of them change color. As far as the engine RPM timing, I have it on custom, and I have it on the percentage of the engine. This is roughly what I've been seeing for the trucks all throughout both games. It's roughly in this pattern. I kind of had it simulate as much as I can. Green is your optimal fuel economy range, and then yellow is where the point where you should be shifting at the top of the green before yellow, and then red is redlining. But that's just how I have mine set up, and then to get that, make sure you have RPM indicator. That's how that works. And then you have these as far as trucking. This does not work. But that's how that works. And then you have your base settings. So you're going to come over here and hit truck. This is the first thing that you're going to do. That's going to set everything. This is going to set your 1800 degrees rotation, your soft limit. I have that at maximum. So what that means as you're better off seeing it here. As I turn my wheel to the 800 degree or 900 degrees, it locks. It's a hard lock. I can't move the wheel past that, and it works in the opposite direction. If you had a soft limit, you could still move the wheel past that. I don't like that, so I limit that. Force feedback intensity, I have mine max. Torque output max. If you guys are new to direct drives, recommend putting this on. The hands-off protection. You don't have to worry about the reversal, but the hands-off protection. So if your wheel gets out of control, you can let go of it, and the wheel, it won't hurt you. But as you guys can see, so hands-off is an algorithm which can detect and control the steering wheel to remain in the center position, avoiding violent shaking or wriggling. That's essentially what that is. Steering wheel inertia, I don't have. That's grayed out for me, so it probably does not apply. And then maximum wheel spin, I have that at 200, just kind of what a base is. I have this kind of set up for me, the natural dampening. You guys can read that. I'm not going to read that. That's a lot of text right there if you guys want. Natural friction, this is how stiff the actual movement of the wheel is by default. And now I think the game settings might override this in some settings. If you crank your friction up, it might be noticeable in the game, but I think the game kind of overrides a lot of that, but don't take my word for it. And then these are for games that don't have feedbacks. If they do, or if they support the feedback, there'll be a light right here. So this is after you're in the game. And then this one I change is I will do my dampening based upon my speed. So I will actually dampen it a lot based upon the speed, and it's usually roughly about 35 kilometers an hour, I think. 40 kilometers an hour, I think, roughly about there. And then temperature control. So this is basically if your base gets too hot. This one is basically it'll limit your force feedback, where radical is you just don't touch your base if it's wet. But you guys can change that. You can change the equalizer, all this stuff. I haven't got into all this stuff. I don't really know too much about it. I just kind of have it at 10. So that's just what I have it. So, and then you got your curve for your force feedback. I just have mine linear, but you can, again, just like the pedals, you can change the amount of force feedback in the game, in the wheel and the base. And then you got your settings. Standby mode is off mode, and then work mode. So that is the Moza Pithouse as far as the most recent update. This is late April, almost May. So there may be updates going forward. So just bear in mind all that information. But I hope this information helps you all. So that being said, now we have everything connected. Let's go ahead and launch Euro Truck Simulator. I'm going to skip that. So now that we're in the game, I'm going to go ahead and jump into my profile. Mind you, it's going to tell me that I don't have my shifter or my button box set up, so ignore that. We're going to go ahead and continue the career. And this process works for either game. And before I forget to mention, you want to have Moza Pithouse running in the background of your computer. So you can launch the game directly from Moza Pithouse, as you guys saw, or you can go on Steam, launch it independently. You can have Moza Pithouse minimized. I usually have it minimized to my system tray, so it's not even technically it's not even an open application. It's a background application. Sometimes that works as far as performance-wise, but Moza Pithouse needs to be running in the background in order for everything to work. And it looks like there was some changes detected. So I'm over here in Greece, I believe. I just got done with the Greece event. So let's see. Let's just pick a place. Let's do Norway, since that's going to be coming up really soon. Wow, I haven't done a lot of this stuff. It's been a minute since I've been here. So this is saying that the Patriot box is missing. That's fine. I'm just going to ignore that. I already mentioned to you guys that that would be the case. So as far as the controls, now that we're in the game, you're going to come over here and go to your options and go to controls, and then you're going to do the input wizard. This is the best way to do it. You're going to hit controls and then steering wheel. And then I do have an H shifter, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. And it doesn't matter which option you use. You can probably do range and splitter, even though I don't have that connected. Once you're on here, you got your steering axis, which should be centered. Your acceleration, switch that to normal. Because for some reason, I don't know why the game likes to invert it. Ooh, hold on, maybe not in normal, maybe centered. Oh, hold on, it's confusing it. Okay, this happens a lot when you guys first set it up. So your steering wheel is going to be there, right? Your acceleration, you actually have to set that. And as you see, it immediately swapped to inverted. So you're going to want to switch that to normal. There you go. Now you guys can see that that's the way it should be. And now the brake, make sure that's the same thing. I actually have to press on that pretty good. Looks like it changed both of those. Okay, so normal, back out of that, normal. So it looks like when you set the one, it's going to set the other. And then I turn my access dead zone all the way down on all three of these. And then my clutch, I'm going to press my clutch pedal. There we go. And then again, I'll turn the access all the way down. Now for my look up and down, that'll be my left thumbstick. And then same with left and right. Next, I have my shifter. Just for the sake of this, I'll just say the Volvo 12+2. So you're going to set this up exactly how you normally would. So you go to reverse, which is listed on the actual shifter. Don't think of the reverse that the game is telling you. Just follow what it is, and then you just go through with each shifter position. I didn't mean to skip 2, but we did. We'll go back to it, and then just continue through each one. And I'm going to end up having to skip these 2 because I don't have buttons figured out because my shifter knob is not connected. So we'll just skip that. But this is where if you had it, you can flip the switches, or if you have other buttons, you can press on that too. And then you finish the wizard, and then now everything should be working. You see the multi-function stock, the base, and then this is where you would want to set up all your controls. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff missing for me, so I am not going to actually be playing the game. I actually have to go back and copy my configurations. But each time you do that, you want to make sure you save, just that way it does it. I'm not going to save because I just lost all my controls. And so I'm going to have to do that. And then if I want to, which I'm definitely do now, I go over my documents folder, go to Euro Truck Simulator, and then my profiles, which I have my offline one. I go to my controls. I can make sure that everything is set up the way I want it to be on this one, which it is. I can hit anywhere on here, Control A, Control C, close out, and then the one profile, which is a Steam profile, 427, Control A, Control V. And now everything is copied and pasted to fit what it was. Make sure you save out of it. And then I can load up Euro Truck Simulator 2 again. All right. Now it's going to tell me I don't have the Patriot box. I already know that. And then I'm just going to make sure that all of the configurations are the way it should be. Now it's going to say that I don't have them. Yeah, exactly that. But it does work for my horn, my high beams. There's some other things that don't work. I'm actually going to just go ahead and drive. I won't be able to start the truck, but actually that's a problem. I need to find a way to start the engine. So let's go ahead and I'll just do this temporary for right now so I can start the engine. So now that I got this all set up, my camera works, wipers work, lights are on, so I can back them down. There we go. So everything is working the way it should be. So, and then I don't have, I think my parking brake works. Throttle works the way it should. I actually have to set a button for my parking brake again, so I can just do a quick drive. There we go. So look forward, parking brake in, make sure that goes into gear. And it's not going into gear. I think we're in manual. That's probably why. Yep, we are in manual, so I'm going to go to real automatic. Don't have to worry about that. As you can see, all these are there. Oh, it doesn't have these. It's all right. All right, so now we'll go ahead. Now we're in automatic. And now we're driving. Now, I'm not going to drive too far. This is more of a proof of concept than anything. Just because I'm driving with my hands and I don't even have my pedals on the ground yet. But that is everything. Just make sure that you guys double check everything, especially in this controls. Make sure you're double checking your brake, your clutch. I know I did those in the reverse, but that's your brake, that's your clutch, and make sure everything's hooked up properly. Anything else that you guys want, make sure that's all set up so you guys are good to go. With that being said, I think that will be it for this. I think that covers pretty much everything as far as getting everything set up. If you guys have any specific issues, I can try to help you as best I can with what I've experienced and the limited knowledge that I do have. But I hope this video helped you all out if you're struggling or if you're just curious in general. Overall, I feel like the Moza R5 and the TSW and my pedals and shifter and everything that I have is a great setup to have. It does come with a price point that is a lot higher. Thankfully, Moza does have the trucking bundle, which gives you the TSW, the R5 bass, and I believe the CRP light pedals, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not familiar with those pedals. I don't know how they hook up exactly, but I believe it should be very similar to this. Just might be slightly different. So bear that in mind as you guys are experimenting with your own systems, and just make sure that you guys are being observant on how everything plugs in. Make sure your Ethernet cables are fully connected to each other, connected to the base unit or the hub if you have it or if you need it. But that is going to be it for this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to hit the like button, especially if you guys found this video helpful, and be sure to stick around for more trucking videos to come, both in American Truck Simulator. Right now I'm working on the Cruising Missouri event, and I'm going to be finishing that up in the next couple weeks here, and then also some Euro Truck Simulator as well. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.